At this time, I call the meeting of the Craven County Board of Education to order. And at this time, I welcome everybody tonight to our meeting. And at this time, I will ask Dr. Wenda Miller, Superintendent, and also Secretary to the Board, to take a roll call of the Board of Education.
Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. Ms. Frances Boomer.
Here.
Ms. Naomi Clark.
Present.
Mr. Victor Doe.
Present.
Mr. Carl Ipop.
Present.
Ms. Stephanie King.
She has been excused.
Ms. Kelly Muse.
Here.
Ms. Kimberly Smith.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have 6 present, 1 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to get a motion, or need amendments to the agenda for tonight. If not, I'd like to get a motion to adopt the August 19, 2021 Board of Education meeting agenda.
So moved. Second.
It has been moved and second that the August 19, 2021 board agenda be adopted. Are you ready for the question? All those approved, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Ayes have it. Adopted. The agenda is approved. And at this time, I would like to take the opportunity to briefly to review our mission, our vision, and our mission statement. And we envision a public education system that challenges all students as learners and prepares them to imagine and create a successful life, values educators, and empowers them to inspire and spark innovation in every student, leads in education and community engagement, and invites all students, their family, and all members of the community to work together to support public education to the benefit of our students, our community, our nation, and our world. Our mission, together with our families and community, Craven County Schools would educate all learners to personal, professional, and civic success through challenging and personalized instruction. And at this time, I would like to ask Vice Chairman Kimberly Smith to review the ground rules, the bin item process, and the safety procedures in the event of an emergency with the attendees of the Board of Education meeting tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Boomer. The meeting ground rules are posted on the back wall right above Mr. Blunt's head, if he would raise his hand in case you don't know who he is. We follow these ground rules for all of Craven County Schools meetings at schools and central office level. They include posting and approving the agenda, which you just saw us do. Listen as an ally, which, you know, guys, it just means to listen to each other, listen for understanding with the heart to understand each other, even when we disagree. One person speaks at a time, respect each other. Again, you know, we may disagree strongly with each other, but we're not enemies. So we can respect each other here tonight and model for our students how to do that. No sidebars up here or down there. Sometimes we have sidebars, it's distracting. When you guys have sidebars, it's extra distracting for us. So please, no sidebars from anyone. Everyone participates. That's for the board, that we all participate. And then when you're called on, then it's your time to participate and everyone speaks, but that everyone participates is for the board. Chairman will recognize the members of the audience. Stay on task, start and stop on time, schedule appropriate breaks, evaluate at the end of each meeting. And if everyone could turn anything that beeps off right now, your cell phones, your watches, your iPads, anything that you have that might disturb or disrupt the meeting, if you could put it on silent, that would be greatly appreciated. The bin item is in case a board member has an off-task thought that's not on the agenda to help things keep flowing. We put it on a sticky note, put it on this gray little border of the thing here, and we'll check it before the meeting, and Chairman Boomer will make sure that everyone's concerns are addressed before we leave. Our safety procedures for tonight, we're going to split the room right down the middle. Those of you on the right, if we were to have a tornado or a drill, those of you on the right are going to enter into the interior hallway there where there's no windows. Get down, cover your heads. To my left, you're going to do the same thing into the interior hallway. Get down, cover your heads. If we were to have an intruder in the building, if the intruder was not in this room, we would secure the doors. We'd alert the building, and we would wait for the all clear. We have law enforcement here tonight, so we don't have to do anything drastic, but we will stay in here until the all clear. If the intruder's inside the building, and guys, if you're not in this public school system, we go through this every day with our students. We try to remind them how we're trying to keep them safe. If the intruder's in this room, again, we're going to follow the same things. We're going to alert the building, inform law enforcement, and then, guys, we're going to take care of each other because that's what we do until we get the all clear. So with that, that is all of our meeting ground rules and safety procedures.
Thank you so much. At this time, we would like to recognize our elected officials, dignitaries, leaders present in the audience and those who are watching electronically. And we have with us tonight, I don't know that she's here tonight, but Craven County School Principal of the Year, who is the Principal of the Year, but also has been promoted to another position with our EC program. She's our director, Dr. Eleanor Patrick, who used to be principal of Oaks Road Academy. We also have with us tonight, Craven County Schools Teacher of the Year, Ms. Arnita Marks, H.J. McDonald Middle School. Is Ms. Morris here tonight? All right, she's not able to be here tonight, but she was with us all day on Tuesday. Our military liaison, Ms. Alifa Palmer. Ms. Palmer, you stand up for everybody to see you who don't know you? Okay, thank you. Our Craven County School military liaison counselor, Ms. Valerie Nassar. Thank you. And also have, as always, partners in education, our executive director, Ms. Darlene Brown. She's back there waving. And we would like for all our principals and all our staff members to please stand as well. We would like to thank all of you for being here tonight. And at this time, we're going to ask our board attorney, Mr. Brian Gaucho, to offer an invocation for this meeting tonight.
Board members, if you'll please pray with me. Holy God, grant us wisdom this day, wisdom to approach our tasks, our daily dealings, and our lives with care and prudence, yielding to your authority. You have set before us standards and expectations for living according to your principles. Reveal to us again our responsibility in light of your precepts to change our self-serving ways and to follow paths of righteousness. When we are inclined to compare ourselves with others, may we discover that it is in meditating on and abiding by your commandments that gives us value and purpose comparable to none. When we seek to grow in knowledge and accomplishments, may we learn that our wisdom and success will disappoint us if we have not grounded ourselves first in your truth. May we come to delight in the reassurance of your presence and in the protection of your guiding hand. Allow us to taste the sweetness of your promises. May your words be like honey to our mouths. In the strength of your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we are very blessed tonight to have with us our students from Craven Early College who will lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Savannah Belfont, Alexander Murphy, and Isabel Raines. Would you please rise and join them with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. Amen. And at this time, we also have our character word and our core value for August. Again, we have students from Craven Early College, Savannah Belfont, Alexander Murphy, Isabel Raines, and Courtney Stokes. Let's welcome these young ladies. And our wonderful young man.
I'm Izzy Rains. I'm a junior at Craven Early College, and I'm pursuing my associate's degree in arts.
I'm Savannah Belfance. I'm also a junior at Craven Early College. I am pursuing my associates in arts and certificate in welding.
I'm Alexander Murphy. I'm pursuing my associates in science, and today we are honored to be representing Craven Early College High School. We'll be talking about visionary leadership. So a visionary leader is someone who directs people in a way to help them reach their goals. Visionary leaders have a take charge attitude to operate in a way that are beneficial to all members of the organization.
At CEC, our teachers are visionary leaders. They communicate with each other and us to find out what our goals are, and they use this information to help us find our best path. We also are trained to be visionary leaders. Our teachers and principal put emphasis on learning how to communicate with our peers, respecting weaknesses while challenging strengths or celebrating strengths. At CEC, they're helping us prepare to be leaders by helping us establish goals. We then mobilize these goals to help find ways to reach them. Our teachers utilize group work to help us find our communication strength. And this year, at the beginning of each class period, we were asked 3 questions. Why are we here? What will we do well together? And how will we do that? And this was to help generate a mission statement for each class and to help us set our goals for the whole year.
As dually enrolled students, we are given a tremendous opportunity to spread our wings and achieve great things. Being on the track to earn our associate's degrees on a shorter timeline than someone at traditional high school puts us in an advanced position to be leaders. We are very grateful for the opportunities we are continuously given, and we make the most of what we have been so generously offered. Because our teachers gear our education towards our goals, a sense of optimism is established within each one of us. The traditional school environment can feel extremely static and like one path is meant for everyone, but success means different things to each individual. Our teachers recognize this and affirm that we don't have to conform to one style of success. Coming out of this traditional view on school creates a sense of optimism among the students and teachers because we all recognize that we are heading in a direction where we will be most successful and contribute the most back to our communities. So for example, another aspect is that we are also, we are showing different opportunities that we might have not recognized when we first started the high school journey. And like for me, for example, that would be welding. I would have never chosen that for myself, but because of the programs that we are shown, we learn that maybe we don't do what we thought we were going to. And then
I was just going to say that we started college classes today, and talking about opportunities, a lot of kids might not have thought they would go to community college because textbooks and degrees are expensive, but we are graciously given it for free. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. That's guys.
Thank you guys for that wonderful presentation, and we sincerely hope that you would have a great year this year. We hope that we can just complete the whole year without any interruption, that this will be a great year for you. And at this time, I would like to ask Vice Chairman Kimberly Smith to provide a summary of our last meeting. Our work session. Did I skip something?
That's after.
I'm sorry. Recognition. At this, I ask Vice Chairman Kimberly Smith to facilitate the recognition section of our meeting.
Absolutely. While
While
Chairman Boomer and Dr. Miller get down front to pass them out, I'm going to ask those same students to come on down. Savannah Belfance, Alexander Murphy, and Isabel Rains. If you'll come down, we have a little something for you guys for leading our core value, and that way we can snap pictures, clap, and do all that good stuff for you as well.
Oh, these are yours. Okay, great job. You got three of them. All of them. And then you want to come back again, right?
Yeah, we should point out that one of the certificates they're getting is from the veterans of foreign wars. They provide those certificates for students every month that lead the pledge. So. We haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. You. And now I'd like to call on Board Member Carl Ipock to recognize the middle and high school Battle of the Books trailer contest winners.
I like to say, this is the first time that we've done this. We are excited that we can make these awards in person.
Thank you, Vice Chair Kimberly Smith. In an effort to keep our students and staff safe, instead of the traditional Battle of the Books competition, a virtual option was created for our middle and high school students during the spring of 2021. Participating students read a book from the State Battle of the Books list and created a book trailer video to promote the book and engage readers. On May 14th, 2021, H.J. McDonald, Havelock, Grover C. Fields, and Tucker Creek Middle Schools, along with Newbern High, Havelock High, and West Craven High Schools, participated in Battle of the Books trailer contest. A rubric was created to guide the participants in what the judges would be looking for, and for all the trailers submitted, well, they were excellent. However, 2 schools stood out and were selected as this year's winners. This year's winners are the folks from Tucker Creek, Aaron Merritt. Is Aaron Merritt here? And Emma Tripp. Okay, and Emma Tripp, West Craven High School. Okay, Aaron Merritt, Tucker Creek Middle School, who read the book, The Boy Who Challenged Hitler. And Emma Tripp, West Craven High, reading Stalking Jack the Ripper. Congratulations to our winners, to all participants. This group of students all worked very hard and enjoyed competing in the contest. A very special thanks to all the teams and coaches that assisted with this event.
Now I'd like to recognize Board Member Victor Dove to recognize staff for the recipient of the North Carolina Association of School Business Officials.
North Carolina Association of School Business Officials provides customized certification training programs through their North Carolina or the NCASBO Academy program. School bookkeepers and instructional support staff learn about various topics to include accounting, principles, internal controls, payroll accounting, budgeting, public relations, and communication skills, ethics, contract law, and purchasing law. School leaders and directors learn about school law, finance management, internal controls, human resource, and payroll management, and school accounting and budgeting. The following list represents Craven County school staff members that completed these training programs over the past year. And tonight we would like to celebrate their accomplishments in earning this certification. From the Treasurer's Academy, we have Lori Abbey, do they come up now? Is Lori Abbey here? Will anybody be accepting on her behalf? Okay, we have Linda Balick, Katie Bell, Tanya French, Felicia Godet, Lucy Jackson. Is Lucy here? Cynthia Manning. Andrea Matthews. Julie Simpson. Stacy Savinsky. Renee Spellman. Courtney Toller. Melissa Turner. And Ciante Williams. These are all the names of those that attended the Treasurer's Academy. Let's give them a round of applause. Shante. Now, next we will call the names of those that attended the Principal's Academy. And we have Catherine Alligood, Kathy Barber, Claudia Casey, Stephen Curry, Tasha Diggs, Ashley Falkenberry, Angie Franks, Stacy Friebel, Montrell Lee, Erica Phillips, Ronika Wallace, Ross Friebel, Renee Harrell, Stephanie Light, Nick Lucas, Jeremy Russell, Holly Tolston, and Denise Altman. And when we all gather with these, can we all please give them a round of applause as well for their accomplishments? Thank you for furthering your knowledge so you can be better to this district.
Congratulations. Congratulations. And their open houses. We want to make sure you get them they're there with their parents and their families.
And I'll call on Board Member Kelly Muse to recognize staff members for their commitment to education and dedication to children within our community.
Hey, everybody. Despite the limitations of in-person instruction due to COVID, as well as uncertainties of normalcy in society, Ms. Lynn Mill, the assistant principal at West Craven High School, and Ms. Robin Register, media coordinator at West Craven High School, found ways to help an at-risk student that came in contact with the Craven County Sheriff's Office. These faculty members took the time to meet on many occasions at the Sheriff's Office and other locations outside of the school campus to assist the student with his studies on their personal time. Their commitment to education and consistent follow-through deserves recognition. Tonight, the Craven County Schools and the Craven County Sheriff's Office would like to extend a huge thank you to both educators for their dedication to our children within our community.
Are they here?
They're both here.
Great, there we go. Okay.
Thank you. And now I'll call on Board Member Naomi Clark to recognize the recipients of the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction Purple Star Program.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. This is going to be a little bit convoluted, Dr. Miller and Chairperson Boomer, because the actual presenters will be Colonel Huber and Sheriff Lucas. But I need you to remain standing so you can help them get it organized at the appropriate time. Thank you. The NCDPI Purple Star Program demonstrates the commitment of individual schools to optimize services for military-connected students as they transition to and from schools and to and from military installations around the world. Military-connected students attend a new school from 6 to 9 times during their K-12 school career. Through a rigorous application managed by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, individual schools adopt programs and processes that have proven successful in helping military-connected students acclimate and adapt to the new surroundings. Purple Star program requirements include a designated point of contact at each school, a district contact, website resources specifically for military families, annual teacher and staff professional development on understanding the military family lifestyle and best practices in serving military-connected students, a peer-led student transition program with the goal of helping new students successfully acclimate to the new school, a choice of service project or special event focused on military-connected students. For the 2021 school year, 21 of our Craven County schools were designated as Purple Star schools. 5 schools are first-time recipients, and these schools are also receiving a banner. All Purple Star schools also earn a special Purple Star label on their North Carolina school report card. At this time, Colonel Huber, Commanding Officer, MCAS Cherry Point, would like to share a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me here this evening, and I want to be brief with my remarks, but I think it is really impressive to know that there are 21 schools in Craven County that have achieved the requirements to earn Purple Star, which means that they've done those things to reach out to our military kids. And as the commanding officer of Air Station Cherry Point, I've got a large number of Marines and sailors and their families that are here in Cherry Point. Many of them are not from the Eastern North Carolina area, and those kids come into these schools, and it is super important that and we really enjoy being embraced in the community. And I will tell you that in 28 years of being a Marine, the relationship that we share with the community here in Eastern North Carolina is the best I've ever seen. And I think that's indicative of the recognition of these schools here tonight, their willingness to reach out and do those things that meet those requirements to earn the Purple Star. So it's really an honor. I'm here as a Marine, but I really represent all the services that are here in the Eastern North Carolina area and that have kids in these schools. And I really appreciate everything that you do for them. So thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask Colonel Huber and Sheriff Lucas to please please come up to the table, please. Yeah. All right, thank you. As Dr. Miller already said, there are many elementary school principals that aren't here. So Mrs. Palmer and Mrs. Nasser will be accepting the awards for the elementary school. So they're a little bit out of order, a lot out of order. And we'll go from there.
Yep.
All right, and those principals, when I call you for the middle school and the high school, if you're in attendance, of course, you would come up. So a special shout out goes to our first time school recipients, Oaks Road Academy. Trent Park Elementary. Vanceboro Farm Life Elementary. West Craven Middle School. West Craven High School. And these are our first time school recipients, so let's give them a round of applause. Now we have, you want to take pictures of these first? All right, thank you.
It's a great problem to have so many grants.
Yeah, yeah.
Lisa, y'all smile.
Next, we congratulate our second-year Purple Star recipients, Arthur W. Edwards Elementary, Bendy Quinn Elementary, Bridgeton Elementary, Creekside Elementary, Graham A. Barton Elementary, Havelock Elementary, J.T. Barber Elementary. I thought I saw the principal. We have Havelock and J.T. Barber Elementary. Roger Bell New Tech Academy. W.J. Gorganis Elementary. Grover C. Fields Middle School. Havelock Middle School. Tucker Creek Middle School. Early College East. Havelock High School. And New Bern High School. Oh, I'm sorry, one more, Brinson Elementary.
How you doing? Hey, you look good.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Okay, now I'd like to recognize Board Member Carr Ipock to recognize the United Way.
Thank you, Vice Chair Smith. United Way Worldwide partnered with the Business Roundtable and the CDC Foundation to launch America's Mask Challenge, an effort to underwrite and deliver 200 million washable face masks to every student, teacher, and staff member in America's most under-resourced schools. The goal of the challenge was to get cloth masks to 40 million students, teachers, and staff members at schools receiving federal Title I funding. That translates roughly to 5 washable masks per person. The challenge launched in mid-December, and Craven County Schools received 81,500 masks through this initiative. United Way Worldwide President and CEO Brian Gallagher said, "We have to do the right thing for our students, teachers, and staff working hard to maintain critical learning during these difficult times. Making sure they have reusable masks is part of our effort to help create equitable, safe, and healthier communities for all." Craven County Schools wishes to thank United Way and all others involved in America's Mass Challenge for their efforts to keep our students and staff safe and healthy. Do we have members representing United Way here tonight? Or would you please come forward? Thank you.
And Chairman Boomer, that concludes our recognitions for tonight, our students, staff. Do I have another one? Oh, Lord, I'm sorry. Let me go
Yeah,
back.
summer,
Who gets that one? Who does that one?
summer food.
Yes, we do. Move too fast. Let me recognize Victor Dove to help us with this community recognition. And I apologize. My finger got ahead of me.
The community business food and truck vendors.
Yes.
The community engagement goal team was busy planning a sizzling summer of fun for our central office team, district departments, as well as school leaders and summer school employees to boost morale and create a fun working environment during the summer. We realize this past year has been very stressful at times, so we wanted to acknowledge the efforts of our staff. Their commitment and dedication to our students, staff, and families is very much appreciated and valued and deserves special recognition. The sizzling summer of fun consisted of weekly drawings of prizes donated by supporting community businesses, delicious food trucks on site, and special social events to bring everyone together for an opportunity for fellowship and to refresh and recharge. Tonight, we would like to recognize our community businesses for the generous donations to us throughout the summer and the local food truck vendors for sharing their hospitality. And those businesses were Carolina Bagel, East Cuisine, Publix, Morgan's Tavern, Creamer Brew, Nautical Wheelers, Famous Restaurant, Midtown Olive Oil of New Bern, Savvy Wine Shop, Morehead City Marlins, Blackbeard's Triple Play, Sampson and Sons, Pirates Cove Car Wash, Outback Steakhouse, Cypress Hall, Fisher Oil Company, Barry the Hatchet, Silver Sensations, Jasmine Tasty Tie, Marie Hella Fat Food, C and Soul LLC, Snowy Time, PB's Italian Ice, Betty's Kitchen and Eatery, and the Salty Sisters. So this time we give them all a round of applause. We thank them very much for their support to our county. Thank you.
And now that concludes our student, staff, and community recognition.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, we will have a summary of the last, of our work session.
And for those of you who thought we've kind of streamlined this process a little bit, so it goes kind of quick. But our August 17th work session, we met on Tuesday. The items that we received for information only, we could back up one, there we go. We received an Avid update. Learning systems coaches, our new ones for the year, were introduced to us. Goal 4 update on community engagement. We had a goal 5 update on operations and resources. The Pirate Leadership Academy VCU was celebrated, and we set goal work, our dates for our goal work. The items that were approved by the board were the UNCW College Advising Corps and West Craven High School partnership, the Commerce Drive lease for the virtual academy, the Kinetic and Solient contract for nurses revision, Human Resources reports A and B, COVID updates to include revising mask policy for all of Craven County school students. The items that we move forward for tonight, for action tonight, will be the COVID protocol guidelines for athletics. And that is it, Madam Chair.
Thank you
for that
so
tonight.
much. And at this time, I would ask Superintendent Dr. Wendell Miller, no, she wants us to recognize the June 3rd, 2021 special call meeting minutes, the July 1st, 2021 special call meeting minutes, and the new superintendent swearing in, and the July 15th, 2021 board work session minutes, and the board meeting combined. So at this time, I would like to get a motion to approve these board meetings.
I so move, Madam Chairman.
Second.
It has been moved and second that these board meetings be approved. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed to say ayes have it, motion carried. And then we would like to approve the closed session meetings minutes for the following meeting dates. June 3rd, 2021 closed session minutes, and July 15th, 2021 closed session minutes. Are you,
But the motion should just include July 15th, because unless I'm reading this wrong, it says June 3rd.
Mr.
has not
Gatchell.
been Turned
okay.
in yet, right? So
So we're doing July 15th, 2021. I'm sure Mr. Goucher will get those in for us as well. All those in favor of approving the July 15th, 2021 closed session minutes, I need to get a motion to approve those.
So moved.
second,
It has been moved and second that the July 15th, 2021 closed session minutes be approved and adopted. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Ayes have it. It is approved. Is there anything that needs to be removed from the consent agenda? If there is nothing to be moved, I would ask that we get a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved in second that all items on the consent agenda be approved. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Ayes have it. Motion is carried. Now, at this time, we're going to ask Dr. Miller if she would give us an update on COVID-19.
At the board meeting on Tuesday, the board asked me to bring some recommendations regarding athletics and other special activities. Also, you asked for a couple of updates regarding masks. So I'd like to start with the mask and then make an announcement that several of our parents here tonight are waiting for me to make. Currently, we have in stock 49,000 adult cloth masks, 57,360 child-size cloth masks, and 52,000 disposable masks. Folks were asking me about a child needing more than one per day. So at this time, we have multiple masks and we have plenty to accommodate that. The next special announcement, we do realize when we are limiting non-essential visitors in school that a child's first day in kindergarten is a very special time. So I know some of the parents here tonight want me to make this announcement. We certainly want our smallest learners to have a successful first day in kindergarten. So we want our parents to walk their children to class the first day of school and wish them the very best. So the little girl in the front that says, "Let my mommy walk me to class," Dr. Miller saying, yes, that's going to happen. All right, now on to athletics and other special events. First, we're going to talk about outdoor activities. I did get input from band directors, coaches, athletic directors, and the school nurses who are here tonight for additional questions. So our outdoor activities, athletics, marching band are as follows. All students are not required to wear masks during physical activity during recess. If the students are not physically active and are sitting, they must wear masks. All activities conducted outside do not require students to wear a mask as long as they are physically active, such as ROTC, color guard, drill team, etc. All athletes and coaches are required to wear masks when they're not actively participating in athletic events, such as standing on sidelines or sitting on the bench. All athletes are not required to wear masks when actively participating in the event, such as on the field playing. Band members and directors are required to wear masks when sitting or playing in the stands. Band members are not required to wear masks when marching or performing on the field. Cheerleaders will distance 6 feet apart and are required to wear masks when taking a break. Cheerleaders are not required to wear masks when actively cheering. Spectators are highly recommended to wear masks, but wearing masks at outdoor sporting events is not required. So I don't want you, if you want me to stop there and the board to ask any questions or make any comments about outdoor activities.
Ms. Clark?
I'd like to hear what your nurses have to say about this last bullet, please.
The spectators. We do recommend that they wear masks, but it's not required.
So you agree with that last bullet?
I do.
All right.
Any other questions? All right,
Yes.
we can move.
I have one more
Okay.
question. You mentioned a certain amount of disposable masks that you have. How many of those are juvenile disposable?
57,360.
All of those are juvenile.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
And one point for clarification, if I could, band students, when they're seated and playing, they have masks that are adapted.
And we're buying, Dr. Diggs, we talked about that this week. We're buying additional special masks that are made for students who are in the band. Any other questions? Okay. Any other questions about the outdoor?
Okay, our questions have to
Point of order.
come from here, not from the audience.
Any other questions about outdoor? All right, we will move to indoor activities. All students must wear masks for any activities conducted inside the building. All athletes and coaches are required to wear masks when not actively participating in the athletic event, such as standing on the sideline, sitting on the bench. All athletes are not required to wear masks when actively participating in the event, such as playing volleyball or basketball. That changed a little bit from the original recommendation after speaking with the coaches. Band members and directors are required to wear masks when sitting and playing in the bleachers. Band members are not required to wear masks when marching or performing on the court or during a competition such as Winter Guard. Cheerleaders will distance 6 feet apart and were required to wear masks when taking a break. They're not required to wear masks when actively cheering. Spectators are required to wear masks at all indoor activities in the sporting events. Any questions about inside activities? Again, these recommendations come from the coaches. The coaches' words were, we want our students to play.
In order for us to carry out this meeting successfully, we must cooperate. You all were asked at the beginning of the meeting that there be no sidebars. If you have questions, give them to somebody who signed up during the break, and they would ask your question for you. Continue, Dr. Miller.
And that's all I have for the board's consideration for athletics and special activity directions and recommendations.
So you're in need of a motion that we approve the recommendations as submitted
Yes,
for
sir.
athletic events.
Okay, I need to get a motion to, I'm sorry, I need to get a motion to approve the athletic event.
That's
And
what
then we can ask the question, have the discussion later, right?
It's not really a discussion. These are all recommendations coming from the athletic directors and coaches.
Yes, sir.
This is their guidance, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Pardon?
And so,
Order. Point of order, we can't have.
right, as I said before, you all cannot ask questions, just blab about questions. I'm sorry. You cannot do that. And if I had to hit this again, those persons who are doing it, you're gonna be asked to leave this meeting because you will cause a disruption and we're trying to conduct this meeting. Somebody heard that, okay?
Thank you for getting the input from the people that are closest to it.
And again, their statement to me was they want their students to be able to play. And if they were wearing masks properly, they would not be quarantined. And that would be able to keep the kids on the field, on the court. That was directly from the coaches and the athletic directors.
Because the only comment that I will make is with the optional mask in the stands and everything, is that we all want football season. We all want it to continue. We want the players on the field. We want to finish the season. And so, this taking care of each other a little bit to keep these guys and girls on the field. I would just encourage the community to help us keep these teams on the field. We don't any want to shut them down. We don't any want them quarantined. We don't any want them not to be able to play. So we had a motion. I'll second it.
It has been moved and second that we approve the athletic proposal to conduct our athletic activities for this year.
And noting that I will say discussion with that, we're going to look at these numbers every board meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And we will adjust down as we move back, we'll adjust them accordingly. And if we move, well, there's no way to move forward, I guess.
And I will continue to get feedback from the coaches.
Okay.
You have heard the motion has been second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, have it, motion carried. Is that all you have, Dr. Miller?
That is.
I think at this time we can take a break. Let's take a 10 minutes break. call this meeting of the Craven County Board of Education back to order, please. Now we are ready for our public input. We're going to ask Ms. Kimberly Smith if she would direct us with this, please.
Thank you, Chairman Boomer. We have 22 signed up to speak. Our policy calls for a half an hour. Of course, we've had some discussion during the break, and I'd like to make the motion that we, double the amount of time that we allow to 60 minutes. So we'll need a second for that motion.
Second. It has been moved and second that we would extend our public input to 1 hour as opposed to 30 minutes. Those, are you ready for the question? Those of you who approve, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, the motion is adopted. Our public input will be 1 hour.
Now they can, if you don't want to use your whole 5 minutes and get more in, don't take your whole 5 minutes so that somebody else will be able to speak. Say what you need to say, and then if you want to give your time, it'll go to the next person.
And I will say this again. Let us be courteous to people who are trying to make their point, whether or not you agree with what they are saying. I'm very good with this gavel. And if I gavel and ask our sheriff to take you out, that's what she's going to do. We want everybody to remain here so you can hear what has to be said. But we are going to be kind and polite to each one. Don't care about the smiles on your faces or anything else. All I'm saying is this: if anybody gets out of order, I will ask that you be removed. But we will entertain our public input. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Boomer. Our first speaker is Charles Majors.
How you doing?
Thank you.
Good evening.
How are you?
So I'm just standing up here as a parent. I have my oldest son is in the 9th grade. My middle son is in the 7th grade. I have a little girl who will start school next year. With everything that's going on, the climate of everything, the company that I own, I can help. I own a company called ProGuard Environmental Solutions. We have an organic solution that if you guys have gone to the flame, anytime between January and now, our system is in the flame. It treats the air, takes care of a number of viruses, COVID included. You can breathe it in. You can actually drink it. Doesn't taste that good, but you can drink it. And it helps. So, like I said, this fight is going to continue, whether it's going to be mask, no mask. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. I think everybody here wants the same thing. You just want the best, outcome for your children. And like I said, I do have the ability to help, and hopefully you all, take me up on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Michael Epp. Or, I'm sorry, is it Michelle? I'm sorry, it's spelled, sorry.
That's all right. I probably will be taking my full 5 minutes. I'm Michelle Epps, a 5th-generation educator with more than 30 years' experience teaching and administrating educational programs. I've worked with students from pre-K through postdoctorate and as a certified adult education specialist. Furthermore, I am an expert in understanding and communicating complicated medical and scientific research to lay audiences and in interpreting complex overlapping federal, state, and agency guidelines. Much of this experience was with National Science Foundation and NIH programs. I was thoroughly vetted to secure a Q clearance required to work at Los Alamos National Laboratory. I was at the lab when the Human Genome Program was in its infancy, shortly after the invention of polymerase chain reaction, or PCR, which made Much of that research possible, but as explained by PCR's 1993 Nobel laureate inventor, was never intended and is not capable of serving as a reliable diagnostic test. I've also worked with nanotechnology and DARPA programs. Therefore, I'm quite familiar with scientific and medical research and funding, including development of bioweapons. I'm giving you my background to counter assertions made during Tuesday's work session that those of us who disagree with board policy don't know science and are motivated by politics. Quite the contrary, I'm here to discuss the science that the board gave so much lip service to without actually discussing. Before addressing the science, however, I need to address the behavior and comments I observed Tuesday. Much lip service was given to respecting other opinions, as well as responsiveness to the public. And yet, as already mentioned, the dissenting public's motivations were assumed to be political rather than based on science or personal convictions. The difficulty in finding new teachers and nurses was assumed to be due to the desire for better paying positions, without even considering that some might be motivated by disagreement with board policies and or unwillingness to act contrary to personal beliefs. Similarly, school nurses who preferred to limit COVID testing, despite the fact that regular testing could lead to higher funding, were assumed to be motivated by the desire to limit workloads. Furthermore, the science that dissenters rely upon was dismissed as coming from disreputable sources, and the board noted that it did not accept the public's desires because it is not bound to do so. One member went so far as to say, even if I wait to hear the parents speak, I still already know how I'm going to vote. While commending yourselves for following CDC mask guidelines, you made no attempt to follow CDC social distancing guidelines. And you even pulled down your mask, one member, to discuss how you could best assure that young students properly and consistently wear their masks. Masks were not required at the meeting, so I didn't wear one. However, when the meeting was called to order, it was requested that all present put on masks. Later, a member chastised the three of us not wearing masks for failing to abide by that request. So, more than 4 hours into the meeting, which I had been respectfully observing in silence, the board voted to require masks in the boardroom, and I left. That was effective immediately. The real question is whether it is rational and science-based to require anyone, especially K-12 students, to wear masks. The board said it based its decisions on such reputable sources as the CDC and the American Society of Pediatrics. So let me direct your attention to some of the CDC's own data as food for thought. According to the CDC's COVID data tracker, mortality rates for children aged 0 to 17 from COVID is 0 and rises with age thereafter. Compare this to the CDC's data on mortality rates from old-fashioned influenza, which range from a low of 0.6 for children aged 0 to 4 to a high of 1.0 for 4 to 17-year-olds, again, rising with age thereafter. Logic necessitates that we ask why we never required masks during regular flu seasons, much less during outbreaks of swine flu, avian flu, MERS, or even Ebola. We begin life with our first inhalation and leave it on our final exhalation. And in between, more important to life than even food or water is oxygen. We should also consider the effects on children of breathing recycled air through dirty masks, of the increased stress and discomfort, the obscuring of faces and voices, the restriction of human contact, and the implication that they should fear other people and the very environment in which they live. Lest you doubt me, let me direct your attention to a recent study led by a respected pediatric researcher at Brown University. They have been tracking babies' IQs for several years and have now reported this past week that babies born since the beginning of COVID-19 have suffered an appalling 22-point drop from the old average of 100 to now 78, which is closing in on the range for intellectual disability. Further research will no doubt be needed to pinpoint causes, but the initial suspects are the factors that I mentioned, including requiring masking. Grandparents aren't holding children.
She can have one of my minutes. I'm next.
Further research will no doubt be conducted to better pinpoint the causes, but their initial suspects are the factors mentioned above, including the effects of required masking. Grandparents are encouraged not to visit or hold their grandchildren. Parents are stressed and many less people interact with today's children. That's fine. I appreciate the time. I'll be back to the next board meeting. And the next.
Our next speaker is Timothy Harp.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
We studied your guys' bios quite in depth. Very, very intellectual individuals, and I'm pretty happy to be here. I am Tim Hart. I've lived in Craven County for a short time, but I've seen a lot change drastically to the point that I didn't trust you to educate my own son. I have a 7-year-old son that is my world, and I will literally die for him any day of the week. And you guys have the same feeling about the kids in these schools, which is why you're so passionate about health, why you're so passionate about ensuring kids are taken care of, correct? We all assume that. We've elected you here. The problem comes down to this: you don't care what parents think is best for their kids. Thus is why we have a situation in which we just watched a vote occur without any input from parents. We watched a vote occur on Monday without any input from parents. I don't know about you guys, but my tax assessed property value has me paying taxes at the rate of about $1,500 to $1,600 a year. I'm paying for the schools, but the school's not listening to me. The school's not listening to you.
Point of order. The speakers to address the board.
I will continue to address the board. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Keeping me honest, Mr. Ipic, it is? IPOC. A lot of you in the area, I get you confused. But to continue with this, the board isn't listening to us, the taxpayers. We're paying these taxes. And while you say you are too, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you up there. If you all have the same tax assessed value as myself, at $1,600, you're looking at $10,000 of the tax income comes from you. Where's the remainder? It's out here. We're the taxpayers too. We tell you how we want our kids educated, and you then educate our kids. I want to bring up something wild and kind of absurd. As I've already said, you guys are very, very intrigued about health, ensuring the health and safety of our kids. I've been an endurance athlete my entire adult life. Long distance running, long distance cycling, swimming, the gambit. I love endurance sports. Love it. CDC has told us that, hey, if you're healthy, if you're fit, if you are eating right, guess what your odds of dying from COVID are? Slim to none. Slim to none. If we're so concerned about health, then why isn't there a mandate that teachers run every day and eat right? Why isn't there a mandate that teachers actually get up in front of their kids and lead them in exercises? Why isn't there a mandate for the Board of Educators to do the same? Because it's a violation of your freedom. It's a violation of your freedom for me to tell you how to live your life and how to eat right and how to run and how to be fit. It's a violation of your freedom. So then isn't it a violation of your freedom, of someone's freedom, to tell you how to raise your child and whether or not that child will wear a mask or whether or not that child doesn't have to wear a mask? Isn't that a violation of freedom? That is. We're paying the Board of Educators to educate our kids. Listen to us. We've got people here who've done the research. We read the news on the CDC, and in fact, news from the UK, which has facts and data that states that those schools which have been masked enforcing mandates have a 21% increase in COVID-19. Whoa. Communities which are requiring masks have an 18% increase in COVID-19. Have you guys looked at any of that data? Have you looked at the fact that Japan doesn't require kids to wear masks in school because they said it is ineffective? It is ineffective. Japan, have you looked at it? I'm asking you, I'm addressing you. Have you looked at the data?
Actually have.
Have you?
We're not supposed to exchange.
You can talk in the end.
It comes down to this. I've got 30 seconds left. We're paying the Board of Educators. We're paying for the schools. We have the majority. This is not a dictatorship. The government is for the people, by the people. We are the people.
Yeah, next speaker is Heather McManus.
No, she left.
Next one.
She left. Okay, the next one is Misty Parker.
Look, they got masks off, Kelly, so don't start with me. Don't start with me.
Okay, y'all, you guys. Kelly, leave him alone.
You can go ahead and start my time.
Yes, ma'am. What'd you say?
She's the time going. She's
Oh, okay.
No, my timer's.
Oh, she's just using her time. Okay.
I'm standing up here wasting their time just like they have all of ours.
I'm fine.
What's the point in sending out surveys, asking parents' opinions? What's the point? So what's the point in me saying anything? So I'll just stand here and waste y'all's time just like you do ours. You don't listen. You don't do anything that we say that we want. Anything. So the list with the coaches, and y'all asked the coaches, were they forced to request or those things? Were they forced to suggest those things be done just so then that way they could play football or they could play baseball or they could have band? Were they forced to say that stuff? Basically, yeah, or you don't get to participate. You don't get to do it unless you give me a list of things y'all will do. So, exactly. Thank you, superintendent, for allowing us to walk our kindergartners to class. I will say that. Thank you for listening to us for that. Anything else, really, it doesn't matter what I say to you guys. It doesn't matter. You're not going to listen. Y'all proved it over and over and over and over. The last 2 years, I've kept my kids home. It's my turn to be able to send my kids back to school to have a normal life. And it's not normal going like this. Can't see your friends smile at you. Can't talk. Can't do anything. Can't go to the cafeteria. Can't do, they got to eat in their classroom. Okay? What kind of middle schooler? I've got a kid who is going into 6th grade. Major anxiety. And what's this doing to him? What's this doing to him? You don't know because you don't have a kid that age. You don't know because you don't care. I mean, like, it doesn't matter to you. It does not matter to you how we feel. And I'm looking at you two the most. But anyway, I would like you to consider the next board meeting listening to us. I can't turn around and address y'all. I've already said that. So listen to us for once. For once. Thank you. I'm good. I tried to
Okay, our next speaker is John Robinson.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is John Robinson. I'm a resident of Craven County. When I moved down here in at the end of 2015, I had 35 years experience in dealing with disasters. Now I have over 40. I'm really here tonight to say thank you. I don't know how well it's known in the county, but throughout these 5 years where I've worked with volunteers and more than 70 organizations and individuals in responding to 2 hurricanes and COVID, the school system has been involved every step of the way. After Matthew, you had concern for all of the families who'd been impacted and went out to Vanceboro to check on those children and their families and make sure they had places to stay that were safe and sanitary. After Florence, you assigned someone from your senior management to come to our long-term recovery meetings, to chair the housing committee, and to go and find the children who had to depart and be evacuated from this community. You wanted to make sure that they had food, that they had shelter, that they had clothing, that they were available to be educated. Not only that, but you learned from that experience, and after the Florence experience, delegated your team to develop remote learning. What an amazing thing. You were one of the first school systems in North Carolina that did that. Do you know that? And when you did that, and when the COVID hit, you had the opportunity to provide for remote learning for your children without missing a beat. You also participated in the state's concern for food sufficiency and made sure that the school lunch program went on. Your bus drivers continued to drive their routes, but instead of picking up children, they were handing out food. You did that all through the summer to make sure that no child went hungry. The result of that was that we didn't have any visuals of cars lined up in the Walmart parking lot waiting to pick up boxes of food, because the collaboration of the community, including the school system, made sure that people had food to eat. That's a commendable participation in the community. Now you've made the difficult choice to ensure the safety of students. I know it's a contentious issue, but I just want to thank you for your continued wise, discerning, and caring leadership during this difficult time. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Kaylee Muse.
Don't start my time yet, y'all, please. Oh, sorry. I'm so nervous. I don't know why I am. It's not like I ain't read this off a million times. Okay. My name's Kaylee Muse. I'm an 11th grader at New Bern High School. I'd like to start this off by saying I'm here on my own terms and how this affects me as a student and the rest of my peers. I'm not here in spite of the fact that my mother sits on the board. I have my own mind, my own thoughts. The only thing my mother has encouraged me to be is myself, to stand up for myself, to think for myself, and speak for myself. As many of us know, Tuesday, August 17th, during the board work session, it was decided 6 out of 1 that masks should be mandated, no longer for just K through 8, but for K through 12. Legislation has not mandated nor made recommendations for what the counties in North Carolina should do pertaining to their students, staff, and faculty. I felt that if I got vaccinated, I shouldn't have to wear a mask given the circumstances. I only got it for this reason and travel purposes. No one has answered if masks will be provided for all grades within the schools in Craven County. Let's do the math for this as well. There are 25 schools. There are roughly about 13,000 students attending. For masks to be exchanged 3 times throughout a 7-hour school day, if all students attend, that's 39,000 masks for just one day. The masks that have been donated is not enough to cover a full school week. Not to exclude from the fact that mask breaks take away from instruction and adding on more time by having to exchange a used mask for a new one. It is a parent's decision if a child comes to school masked or unmasked. Everybody's hopes were brought up when it was stated that only K through 8 would have to wear masks and high school would not. But realistically, let's look at the 13,000 who are siblings, where some are in K through 8 and the other are in high school. None of these students, nor myself, have worn one this summer. We've traveled, been to camps, worked, went to the beach, etc. As a student who has attended Craven County schools for 10 years, I'm disappointed, discouraged, and left utterly disgusted with how things are already starting to play out with the upcoming school year. I watched the board work session last night, and I felt that for Carr IPOC to say that he was scared for myself and others to come up here tonight and spew on him during public input, along with the fact that Naomi Clark said as a board member that you don't have to listen to parents' input for what's best for their children. So does that mean you don't care about the rest of the students attending in this county? I emailed you guys at the beginning of the pandemic along with the state superintendent, Mark Johnson, and the state school board. I did not get a single reply from all 7 of you at the time. There are 2 new board members that were not included in that email, Victor Dove and Kelly Muse. So I would like you to consider your mask mandate for the negative impacts it has on learning, communication, and socialization. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Elena Hebert.
Hi, my name is Elena Hebert, and I am the mother of 2 little girls. I'm here today to ask you to please repeal your decision to require masks for all students and staff in school this year. This should not be a unilateral decision made for all students and staff. They are not all created equal, just like those cute little CEC students pointed out. They're not. They all are different. Some of them are fine wearing masks all day, while others will really struggle with this. It should be the choice of the parents for their children and the choice of the staff members if they choose to wear a mask. Children should not be forced to sit in uncomfortable masks all day and not able to see each other's expressions. The mask may irritate their skin, cause their eyeglasses to fog, give the child a headache, cause acne, impair their field of vision, give the sensation of heat and dampness. All of these and more are effects of prolonged mask wearing. And I can vouch for that. I personally had to travel across the country on a plane, tugging 2 little toddlers around, and those are all real. None of this seems to be conducive to a healthy learning environment. And then you take it a step further and you want to mask children as young as pre-K and kindergarten. I can't even imagine how awful it would be for a little child, not to mention the teacher trying to shove the little faces back into behind those masks all day. I think it's ludicrous to even think that that would work, let alone be a good idea. Teachers have better things to do than police students who are not wearing masks, or at least they really should. Private schools have gone mask-free without any problems. Why should children whose parents don't have the resources to send their children to private schools, or parents who can't stay home and homeschool, why should they have to suffer without choice? We can do better. You can do better, and we can make a better plan. For instance, improved ventilation. Talk to this gentleman perhaps about what he could do to help with the school. Smaller groups, keep the kids in their smaller pods. That's been something that people have tried, people have done, I think, successfully. And maybe even go as far as to encourage a healthy diet and exercise to keep people healthy so that they can heal from these illnesses far more rapidly. But at the end of the day, I'm not here to cause further divide between our maskers and our anti-maskers. I'm just here to say, let us decide what is best for our children. Let them be comfortable enough to learn and focus and be present for what they're supposed to do. And that is learn. It's what we all want for them. Anyway, if one parent wants to mask their child, or if that child feels safer in a mask, by all means, let them wear it. But don't force that decision on all of the students. I just want to add that I just feel like we have to stop sacrificing children's well-being to protect adults. I noticed a lot of the people outside carrying the signs, saying, thank you, school board. And I do, the gentleman who just spoke, I know you guys do more than have to worry about just these masks, but a lot of the people outside that are holding signs, they don't have kids in school. They're elderly. I realize they're at risk, but they're not on school property. They're not there. And they really have no business being there. So I just don't think they have a dog in this fight. I don't think they should be there. I just don't think it should be their decision. Anyway, and then lastly, I just want to say, and this is just from somebody else that I spoke with in the audience during the break who's not signed up to speak. She did say that there was a survey sent out to all the parents and the staff in the school to vote on, does the majority want masks in school? Do they not want masks in school? And according to what I heard from her, that the majority voted to make masks optional. So it's just, we want the decision to have a choice. And I would just implore you to please rediscuss that and please give the children a choice. I just can't imagine these very young elementary school and age children having to deal with these all day long. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Next speaker, I'm gonna butcher the last name, and I'll apologize up front. Michael Schachter.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I caught it.
I want to thank the board for keeping our students safe and our community safe and in school. As an educator, I know how important it is for in-class learning. And I want to keep our students in school there. And so I want to make sure that, we don't have to close the schools again, that they don't have to, have home learning. Someone said that, now I've been in this county for over 40 years. So I've paid a lot of taxes. And what the students do, I do not have a student in the school, but I do have nephews in the school there, and they come home to me and I talk and I see them and a lot of these other people. So you don't have to be in the school, to be able to catch COVID. I know that because I caught COVID, and COVID is not a good thing. Luckily it was, a kind of a more mild, but it put me out for 2 weeks, and, this Delta variant is a lot more than just what it was, at the beginning of the year. So I think what the school board is doing is going to help the community, and I thank you all. And I don't have anything else to say. Thank you.
Thank you. It is not my job to say this, but she could not hear it. Guys, there wasn't a word made when you spoke. People were respectful to you, and it is only right that you do the same for them. The next speaker is Amanda Loom, I'm not sure. Thank you.
Not a public speaker, but I'm going to do this anyways. I have 2 children who are not quite in the school system yet, but they will be next year. And so I feel like I have a lot to say about what's going on here. I heard that the school board went behind our backs to vote without us and our input in favor of masks, but no one has the authority to mandate my child wearing a mask. It's my child. Our children have a right to breathe fresh air, and that is backed by the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Bible. And if I need to show any of you guys where the information is, I'm happy to do so. Some of us will never back down from this or put a mask on our healthy children. I will not normalize this for my kids. COVID-19 is a virus and it's not going anywhere. What's the end game? Are you going to mask the kids forever? It's not going anywhere. What's the point in the mask? Is it to keep you guys safe? Isn't that what your vaccine is for? Are you going to try and mask them until they're forced to get an experimental vaccine? Because my kid's not getting that. Never. My kids will not live in fear of breathing air or playing with their friends. Me and my children take no responsibility for the health of other people. Masks don't work anyways. Imagine a virus so deadly, people have to be bribed into taking a vaccine. So deadly, a mask is going to save everyone? I don't think so. What you're going to get is parents pulling their kids out of public schools. What you're going to get is less votes next year. Unless you guys find a way to commit voter fraud. I have a special needs child. I advocate for him daily, and I will continue to do so for the rest of my life. Like many of the parents here, I would die for my children. I will do anything to protect them. Mask mandates are devastating to children's development, mentally, physically, and socially. I know that because I have an autistic child who has been left behind. He is in preschool and he was unable to get special ed into his school all of last year until the very end. What about the special needs kids? I could send my children to private schools, but they don't cater to special needs kids. So what choice am I left with? Homeschooling, charter schools? Because I'll tell you what, I'm not putting a mask on them. It's not happening. I encourage families to take control and pull your kids from public schools. Masking children is abuse. If you're too scared to send your kids to school because the school board and the media fear-mongered you, then you should be the ones to stay home. I'm not going to go into numbers here because people have already done that and you guys don't listen anyways. The flu is more dangerous to kids than COVID. No one mandated masks for the flu. What is happening to our children is child abuse. Plain and simple. It's Munchausen by proxy. It's destroying kids' immune systems and giving the rest of you a false sense of security. If you want to get the vaccine as an adult and protect yourself, then do it. But don't make this about safety because our kids are not in danger. Thank you.
And next speaker is Ronnie Howard.
I really can't add a whole lot to anything's been said right now, but I am an educated person. I have 4 college degrees. I got my doctorate in medicine, so I know a little bit what I'm talking about, but I'm not going to talk about it. Y'all heard it all. One thing that's interesting about COVID, you know, I'm studying CDC numbers. You know, yesterday they posted 430 kids have died since they started tracking COVID last year, which is bad. I don't know how all of them had comorbidities. I don't know. There's some studies say up to 60% of them have comorbidities, but that's a lot. But there's no data, no study, no anywhere in the world saying that masking children have stopped the spread of COVID in schools or in a community where they live. In fact, there's a lot of studies that say the complete opposite. Now, we could go pull these studies up, and I'm sure a lot of people here probably have them saved, but I don't think it matters in the end to what y'all believe. But one thing I have learned, that drowning has killed more kids than COVID has. 2019, 722 kids died of drowning, according to the CDC. So we're going to stop letting them go to the pool. We're going to stop letting them swim in the ocean. How about giving them baths? So we're going to stop doing that. I mean, and we, you know, a lot of them probably would appreciate it, but we can stop doing that. But more kids die from drowning than COVID. And like I said, there's no data supporting these measures to stop the spread of COVID in the neighborhoods where they live. Now, people have been warning about the Delta variant, and I can give you some numbers that I pulled today. The 7-day average at our peak this is for North Carolina, it was January 9th, I think. The daily cases, I think, was around 9,440. I think is what the CDC says what our 7-day average was for cases. And that was in the first week of January. Ours right now are around 4,500. So we're half of what we were in January. Same way with deaths. Deaths is a big one. The peak in deaths was in January 22nd. We was averaging 107 a day on North Carolina. Last week, we were averaging 15. So that's a 600 or 6% less, 6 times less, 600% less deaths. Let's go to hospitalizations. Week ending August 17th, kids 0 to 17, 2.4% all COVID deaths or COVID hospitalizations in the U.S., 2.4%. Let's go back to January 9th, which was the peak, 3.3%. So when people sit here and tell you that the hospitals are being overrun by COVID cases and people are getting admitted left and right, kids are getting admitted left and right, they're not being honest. The truth is RSV is putting a lot of people in the hospital. That's the truth. RSV is doing it. And if you research that, it's up in the summer for the first time ever, and nobody understands why, but there's a lot of things that we could say why. But RSV is one of the worst things that's going on right now. But anyways, what I'm here to talk about, and my point is, I'm with her. take your kids out of the school system. There's a lot of legislation going on right now across the U.S., and a lot of governors are already signing into legislation. Fund the students, not the systems. School choice, give me my tax dollars. People here are taxpayers. I pay more than he does in taxes, and there's a lot of us that pay a lot more than a lot of people here that pay money into school and taxes and to the school board for property taxes, income taxes to the state. Just give me my money. Let me decide who's going to best educate my children. Then I won't have to deal with this. We need to start talking about CRT, transgenders, and then we start talking about, the medical advice you're taking are the same people that are saying that boys can be girls, men can have babies, and then they can breastfeed those babies. These are the same people telling us that we need to inoculate our children and mask them up. So that we can't take them seriously. The Bible says to scorn the scornful, mock the mockers. And that's what I'm doing. I'm mocking these AMA. Let's not put genders on the birth certificate. You can't take people seriously as saying that. Those same people are telling us we need to mask our kids up and inoculate them. So that's what I'm here for today. I like to hope Mark Robinson, he wants to be governor one day. There's a lot of representatives that might want to hear this. There's people here that give us our money back. We'll take up where we want to and let the free market work itself out. Thank you.
Next speaker is Linda Claus.
Good evening. I am a registered nurse, an educator with a master's degree, a certified infection control practitioner, and a supervisor of the infection control unit from the New York State Department of Corrections, retired for 15 years. I have worked with infectious disease very closely for a good part of my life. I want to applaud the Board of Education for making what I feel is the right decision regarding masks and other measures to control disease in our schools. What some people fail to recognize is that what you do in the school, what children do in the school, what teachers do in the school affects the community, because those children and those teachers all go home to their families. And when they are put at risk in the schools during their jobs, or when they are going into learning, it affects us all. What they do while they are in school affects everyone in this community. We all breathe the same air. We have no choice in that. We all breathe the same air. What you do affects me. What I do affects you. We need to recognize this. We need to understand this. I would think by now we would and do, but we don't. Because otherwise there wouldn't be this division about simple public health measures. This isn't about people's wants. This isn't about what they perceive they need. This is about what goes on in our communities, in our schools, and in our families. It's all part of life together. What I am hoping is that people will finally, maybe it's too big a hope, recognize that we are all in this together. We are all part of this together. And what you do and what your children do affect me. And what I do and my family does affects you. And yes, you can get COVID from children. And yes, COVID can be gotten by children from adults. All of these things have been proven and shown, especially with the variant. Much more transmissible, affects children more. Thank you for doing the right thing. Please continue to do the right thing to safeguard all of us, because that's what this is about. It's about all of us. Thank you.
Okay, you know what? That is just absolutely rude. And you all supposed to be grown people, set an example, and you're gonna treat someone else like that. That is totally uncalled for. And the next person that does this meeting will be adjourned. Who's next?
Dorico Baker.
Question, if I may, where are we on the time?
Where are we, Ms. Wagner, on time? Okay, one more call for Dorico Baker. Next speaker, Brandy Walter. Okay, thank you.
Okay, one moment to get set up, please. All right. Good morning, Board of Education. I'm here to speak on behalf of the voiceless, the small kids who can't vocalize and defend themselves against mandated abuse. Now, I have been following this closely and I've realized some points. These masks you are mandating are not effective. It is dangerous virtue signaling. Let me explain. COVID is 0.125 microns. Science says these masks are inefficient at blocking particles smaller than 2.5 microns. But you know what they can do? Harbor bacteria on our children's faces all day. You wouldn't blow your nose in a Kleenex and stick it on your face and wear it around. That would be gross. Masks are disgusting, full of germs, and it's dangerous to have these germs attached to their sensitive little faces all day. As neurosurgeon Russell Blaylock said, by wearing a mask, the exhaled viruses will not be able to escape and will concentrate in the nasal passages, enter the lungs, olfactory nerves, and travel into the brain. Asymptomatic or mild cases of COVID-19 become more severe when the infected is masked. Their oxygen is lowered, viral load increases from particles rebreathed, and the disease overwhelms the innate immune system. If you mandate this medical treatment, let it be known you make yourselves legally liable for any and all issues that arise from it, since you are taking it upon yourselves to force it. It would be better to teach these kids to sneeze and cough in their shirts and drop them, wear a handkerchief on a necklace and pull it up to sneeze and drop it. Maybe Kleenexes at every child's desk and a trash can they can cough and sneeze and throw away. Argument, but they won't do it right. It's not like masks are being used correctly anyways. It says they must be changed when they are contaminated. How do you know when they are contaminated? You don't, because you can't see the viruses and germs. Every time they sneeze, every time they go to the bathroom, every time they cough, do we have that many masks to keep up with in a day? Can you provide that to them? And I don't mean those ill-fitting cloth masks you provided last year when they didn't have one. The ones that fell off their face and you couldn't make them fit even if you tried. They still wore them in the building, but they were obviously pointless. It was just good enough to be a virtue signal, although it was uncomfortable and ruined their day. But you felt better about it, and I guess that's all that mattered. Watch out, more science. I have 2 boxes of masks. Both say they don't prevent infections. Let me read box A. This face mask is not a surgical face mask, which provides liquid barrier protection and should not be used in a clinical setting where the infection risk level through inhalation exposure is high. This face mask should not be used for antimicrobial or antiviral protection or related uses, or used for infection prevention or reduction of related uses. Let me read this mask box to you. Warning, this mask is not a respirator. This mask does not eliminate the risk of contracting any disease or infection. Replace if damaged or soiled with blood or other bodily fluids. This nurse who spoke should know this if she's a professional. I can read the box. 68%, 68%. Why do you think that is? Because we see how they harm our kids. No, the kids are not okay, but they are small and they don't know how to vocalize that. This should not be normalized. This should not be tolerated. You do not know every child's medical history to enforce a medical device on them. I have a friend who was in an abusive relationship. She told me there was no way she could handle a mask being strapped to her face with experience. Now, do you think a parent who was abusing their child is going to raise their hand and say, excuse me, I'm abusing my child. Can they get an exemption? These children will have to suffer that and suffer through being physically forced to be silenced more, emotionally and physically. The power of a smile. When I took my daughter for her first day of school, she couldn't even see her teacher's lovely smile. She seemed friendly, but that is a vital part of humanity. Forcibly deprived children at a critical age of these desperately needed connections is evil, plain and simple. There was a study done on masks in Florida, and they found bacteria that cause pneumonia, tuberculosis, meningitis, sepsis, encephalitis, bloodstream infections. That theory was so resistant to antibiotic treatment, and you're forcing them on them. Masks compromise communication and reduce social distancing. When people are wearing masks, the quality and volume of speech between two people wearing masks is considerably compromised. We can all vouch for this. Then they move closer to improve communications, thereby increasing the likelihood of becoming exposed to infectious viral particles. If the mask is contaminated, as it should not be touched. I watch all these people constantly tugging and pulling their masks. They increase virus transmission by far instead of being prevented. How often do children touch their masks? The WHO warns if masks are not worn carefully, correctly, and kept sanitary, they are worse than ineffective. Who was ensuring our kids are wearing them effectively all day? Is that even possible? Some people say doctors wear masks all day. Why can't kids? That is an adult. That is a chosen profession. They can walk away. Also, things affect children differently than adults. Trojans change their masks much more frequently, like after every bathroom trip. They know how to wear them right. Stop comparing children to adults. And also, please stop saying they are resilient and using that as an excuse to muzzle them. Just because someone is resilient is not a pass to bully them. Why should we pay taxes when you disregard our feelings? 68% you ignored. What if you lost 68% of funding? Do you know how many kids you've already lost? When children and teachers start to suffer financially in an already strained environment, I hope they remember the four of you that are responsible for this. It's not only the mask, it's the tone deaf and prideful and caring attitude of our representatives. You are supposed to be representatives. This is not a dictatorship. Thank you, Kelly Muse, Francis Boomer, and there was one more that voted to not use the mask for our kids and force them on people. I appreciate that.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dixie Mann. Hello. I have one child in Newburgh High and one at Grover. I did have a speech, but most people already said what I was going to say. I really don't know what you're basing your mandate on. I looked at the data. I mean, COVID, 98% pretty much survive and death when they get COVID. And that's if they get tested. Most people aren't getting tested, and they're getting a natural immunity. Nobody talks about the natural immunity. And I looked at the data off the North Carolina website. In North Carolina, only 4 children died from COVID under the age of 18 as of the 17th. More children died from the flu, and I know that's been said. And so I don't know why, and they're talking about families and everything. The majority of people that are dying are over the age of 75. I hate to be the bearer of truth here, but you're at 75, you're on your last leg of life, pretty much. You may have 20 years, maybe not. My parents are in their 70s. I'm scared that they get the cold. I'm scared that they walk outside when it's raining because they can't keep their balance. So I don't know why we're teaching this fear in our children. I see it in my son. He wants to be antisocial now. He doesn't want to communicate. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to do anything but be by himself. It's very, very unhealthy. And I think you guys need to reverse it. You are not a parent. I know what's best for my child. And I have no problem if a parent wants to mask their child. That's up to them. But don't force my child to do it.
Every day we take risk. Let me decide what risk I want my child to take. You let children drive to school. You know, teen drivers are 3 times more likely to be in a fatal crash, but you let them drive. Why? Because it's the parents' decision on whether or not they want them to drive to school or not. Why? Because they need to learn. We have to take risk every day. We have to reward the risk. And I think wearing the mask is not worth the reward you guys think they're getting. It's not at all. I think it does more harm than good. Thank you.
Jennifer, do we have time for one more? Okay. The next speaker is Steve Hamley.
Thank you, Board. I came up prepared to talk a lot about what everybody else talked about. I'm a data scientist and I work in IAQ, that's indoor air quality. Doing it for a long time. Got enough of those facts. It occurred to me, they say it's not politically motivated, I believe it is. So what I'm going to do, and I already have, reached out to our state legislator to have you removed with a vote of confidence. Next thing, and I realized sitting there, this is our fault. Now, I used to be elected official, but I'm raising 8 children. So my full-time job, I kind of left it to you guys to run the school board and be state legislators and so forth. Not anymore. So we can't get relief from the state legislative body. I'll run in 2024. And whether you want my breath on you or not, Mr. IPOC, I'll be gunning for you. Thank you.
Do you have time? Is Mike Speciale still here?
No, him and Hazel left. They told
Okay.
me that they were leaving.
Okay,
before.
and the next one is Jonathan Davis.
There's not much more I can say than what's already been said, but I just wanted to, I'm kind of with everybody else who, I don't know where you guys get your data from, what you're looking at. You're trusting the CDC, who's reversed course several times. The last time you should check this, the last time they changed courses in June, they said if you had the vaccine, you didn't need to be masked. You were good. A month later, they say you need to wear a mask, even if you've been vaccinated. That study came from a study in India on 100 people on a vaccination that's not even approved for use in the US. That's what the CDC, where you guys are getting your information from. And I realize they should be smarter than that, but they're not. And I'm just being honest. So everything I have, I sat down with 2 nurses today from Carolina East, okay? At my business, I'm a local business owner here too. I have 2 businesses here. I just want to spit some facts to you guys that have already been said. The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. Children ages 0 to 18 in North Carolina. As of today, that lady that just spoke was exactly right. 4 kids have died. What the Health and Human Services Department won't tell you in their data, they will not tell you if any of those 4 kids had underlying conditions, severe diabetes, cancer, pneumonia, the list goes on and on. Okay? They won't tell you that. 4 kids. Do you know how many kids 0 to 18 are in North Carolina? 2.2 million. 2.2 million. And I promise you guys, you write it down, that these are facts. I didn't come here to BS anybody, be disrespectful, but the decisions you guys have made when you just disregard the parents is just asinine to me. I don't understand it. Those 4 deaths, 5 to 9-year-olds, 2 of them. 15 to 17, 2 of them. Okay? That equates to a death rate of 0.000000182. Okay? I want you guys to know that. The CDC, you guys like information from the CDC, reports as of today, 430 children nationwide have died from the COVID. A lot of those had underlying conditions. They did report that information. North Carolina did not. CDC did report that.
There was a certain percentage of those, a lot of them that had underlying conditions. They didn't tell you what they were, but they were underlying, just like older people who may have COPD, heart failure. You die in a car accident, they test you for COVID, they write it up that you died of COVID. That's what they do. Hospitals make more money on it. They get paid more to list a death as COVID-19. Look that up. It's a fact too. Did you know there's 74.2 million kids in the US from 0 to 18? You know what that death rate is on the 430 that have died since the start of COVID, March, I guess when the numbers came out in March of 2020. That death rate total is 0.000000581. Influenza in 2019 killed over 200 children in North Carolina. You guys don't want to know about that though, do you? It's disheartening that you guys are taking false narratives and information from a CDC who honestly is disappointing and embarrassing to us as parents. You guys look at the survey, you send a survey out. Why'd you send a survey out? I know you guys ain't gonna answer and that's fine. Why'd you send a survey out if you wanted to know what we thought? And I have 2 kids in school, one at West Craven High School and one at West Craven Middle. Why did you send the survey out if you don't care what the parents think? How do you, and I'm not gonna call any of you out by name, but one of you ladies said, I'm doing what's best for the kids in Craven County. No, you're not, because you don't represent my kids. You don't tell me what to do with my kids. You don't do that. You're not. You disregard everything everybody just said. Look, I don't care if you guys wear a mask. I don't care. But don't make our kids wear a mask if our parents, us as parents, don't want our kids to wear them. If there should be a no bully policy about kids that wear masks, that's fine. If they want to wear them, fine. If they don't, they don't. I don't know if you guys know it or not, but kids, especially 0 to 18, have to build up an immune system. They can't do it by wearing masks. Germs are good for kids, okay? They have to. If you mask them for 6-7 hours a day, their immune system keeps going down, 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 down. More kids, you know what your chances of getting struck by lightning is? 1 in 500,000. Drowning, all that. I'm gonna leave you with this last note. This mask right here, it doesn't work, okay? Let me show you one other thing. This thing doesn't work, guys. The ones that you guys all got on, Kelly, thank you for your vote and your support. I saw 4 N95s. I think I said that right.
Thank you.
Yeah, the N95s work and none of you guys got them on. None of you.
Public input session.
Okay, we're now open.
And I respected everything that everyone said when it comes to the data and to the facts. Everything that you all said, I'm not going to sit here and say it's not true. But I'm not going to say that everything that I've seen isn't true either. What's really messed up is how do we know what to believe? So as I state, if I'm going to make a mistake, it's going to be a mistake that every agency that we have trusted all my life until now, I'm going to believe that one. Now, I'm not going to doubt anything you all say, and I'm going to even look up some of these facts. But one thing about the survey, sir, I will answer. It was just a survey. We had other points of data that we also used. Also, the survey didn't have all of the parents. You all keep saying, you all work for us. You have to do what we say. You aren't the only people in Craven County. We have received a lot of output from people that totally disagrees with what you're saying.
Give us the data.
Give you the data. Did you give me data? You gave me statements.
Wait a minute, we did not.
And I will take it. So you get it to me, I'll take it. Now,
I need to get a motion from the board that we end this meeting.
Ms. Boomer,
I need to get a motion from the board to end this meeting.
Ms. Clark, motion, second.
It has been moved and second that this board meeting come to an end. All those in favor, I'll take a roll call vote. Ms. Francis Boomer? Yes. Ms. Naomi Clark? Yes. Mr. Victor Dale?
no.
Mr. Carl Alpop,
Yes.
Ms. Kelly Muse.
I just want to talk about Charles Burnett Majors and his disinfecting thing. I told y'all,
You can either vote, Kelly, or.
okay, then I abstain.
Ms. Kimberly Smith.
Yes.
You have one. All right, this meeting is adjourned. This meeting is adjourned. Let's get out of here.